How's it going, guys? It's Burgers here. Welcome to another Age of Empire mobile video. Today we're going to talk about the strong players in the alliances. And I've been noticing something during almost every big PvP event. And the funny thing is, the players getting the most prize in the alliance chat usually aren't the one getting the most kills. They're not always the biggest spenders, and they're not always the players chasing every rally or every open field fight. Sometimes they're the players you barely notice until the battle is over. And for a long time, I honestly thought helping your alliance mean constantly looking for another target. If my march wasn't attacking someone, I feel like I was just not doing enough. And I think a lot of players still judging themselves that way. The more wars I played, the more I started noticing something that didn't really make sense. Some players seems to stay alive all day, they keep earning merits, they were always available when something important happened, and somehow they were making a huge impact without constantly throwing themselves into every fight. Sometimes the biggest improvements don't come from learning new mechanic. They come from looking at all mechanic differently. If you enjoy those kind of discussions where we challenge the way we think about the game, consider subscribing and leaving a like. It really helped me keep making investigations like this. The biggest misconceptions I see in PvP is that helping your alliance always mean attacking. It sounds obvious because attacking is what everybody notices. You see March charging across the map, rallies launching everywhere, players posting battle reports with thousands of kills. Naturally, it feels like that's where all the value comes from. But after watching enough wars, I start realizing something completely different. The alliance doesn't actually care whether you are attacking. The alliance care whether you're useful. And majority of the cases, you're going to see this type of players around some flags or important points that need to be defended. Those are the players who are non-stop are present at the place where is the biggest value for your alliance. It can be just building a flag, it can be destroying a flag, or it can be any mechanic that is helping to win the war. You're going to see those players at this place. When you open or you go around the map, you may actually see, a lot of players fighting left and right, somebody striking someone who is gathering or stuff like this, which is bringing some kills to the person, but at the same time, this person is not that valuable to the alliance at this point, especially if he put everything in the hospital and he's not able to support their alliance what their alliance are needing. I totally understand this is a fun game, or people have to do their fun, but for value for the alliance, this is the type of players. They're sitting at the points where matter the most of their alliance. And yeah, at the end of the day, we're a war game. We're looking to do some merits. We're looking to strike some legion that is out of position. Nothing wrong with that. But just mindless going and non-stop do some PvP fighting around the map without any kind of purpose, I think is one of the biggest problems that we may have, because we're not going to be able to support our alliance. That naturally leads to another realization. If helping your alliance isn't just about attacking, then maybe every account shouldn't be trying to play the same role. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes players make, especially after watching whales or content creators. You see the strongest account sitting right on the front line, constantly taking rallies, driving into open PvP fights, teleporting everywhere, and it's easy to think that's how should be played too. But your account isn't their account. Their investment is different, their troops capacity is different, their technology is different. And because of that, their job during the war is different. And this is a place where even I get trapped. I saw somebody on the battlefield doing some crazy stuff, non-stop going even with 2-3 legions. And this is maybe one of the first traps people are getting in this game, is seeing some whales that is having like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 legions on the battlefield, and think that they should also build that, and they also have to be non-stop present on the battlefield. There is a difference between your account, or I don't know, maybe you're well, I really don't know. But for example, WoW spenders or free-to-play players or even mid spenders have completely different role. They have to be present where their alliance need them the most. Till whales, they get very decent rates whatever they're striking, because their heroes are like 5-star. They also have some good rings. They have gear. They have gems of this gear. I mean, they're fully developed legions that even if you touch them, you're going to suffer for heavy casualties as a free-to-play player or a WoW spender. So just by sending their legion, they can, get very decent reports. But this is something that is not for every account. This is the majority of the cases, whales and krakens, and you should not follow this type of play. Also, they can afford having a lot of troops in the hospital, because they can just heal these troops very, very fast and not having an issue when the time comes and they have to support somehow their alliance. So yeah, don't follow the play the whales and krakens are doing. It's not just for every account. Once I accepted that different accounts have different jobs, I start looking at my shield completely different. Before, I almost treated my shield like something that was supposed to disappear the moment a war started. If I still had it after 10 minutes, I feel like I wasn't doing enough. Now I almost think the opposite. Sometimes keeping your shield is exactly what allows you to continue for the next 6 hours instead of the next 5 minutes. Because every time your shield drops, you expose your city, you're risking resources, you're risking troops, you're creating downtime, and eventually you have to stop helping just to recover. And this is with huge power for every small account. If you want to get some healing, get some alliance help to do some healing, and in general recover, you should be picking your fights. This is not only in the game with full power. This is in every place in the life. You should pick your fights, and when you're prepared, go for it. But if you expose yourself, some tier 8 to just knock on your door and say hello, and basically you may get some positive traits, don't get me wrong, from point of the loses. He may lose more, but you're going to get majority of the cases more severely wounded, which is creating more downtime for you, because all the troops that is in your hospital need to get healed. So it's better maybe to just sit on the shield for the next couple hours till your uptime come, for example, of your alliance, and then when everybody are present on the battlefield, take out of your shield and join everybody and start attacking. From this, just to not having that shield and not playing defensively at the end of the day. I think this is one of the biggest lesson a player can have, is knowing when to fight. Knowing when to fight and knowing when to not fight. I know it's a war game, don't get me wrong, but I strongly believe that in the core of this game is not only when you should fight, is also when you should not fight and actually save your resources for a moment that give just better leverage of your troops or your legions in the battlefield. The part that surprised me the most is that once you stop measuring contribution by attacks, you start measuring by efficiency, and those are very different things. Let's say two players finish the same war. One of them wants 20 attacks, the other spent most of the battle reinforcing rallies. defending flags and supporting the front line. At first glance, the first player looked like they're contributing more. But did he? Maybe there was far more troops. Maybe they spent half of the battle healing. Maybe they burned through teleports trying to chase every fight. Meanwhile, the second player was available from the beginning of the war till the very end. And this is other great example of roles on the battlefield. If you, for example, have like tier 7, let's say tier 7, or maybe tier 8, okay, let's say tier 7, and you're reinforcing a rally, this is way better because the rally leader can be a hero that are way more stronger from your own heroes. The majority of the cases, the people who is making the rallies are the people with very strong 3 heroes, very strong rings, horses, adornment, gear, sockets. They basically have everything. Also castle technology. So by just sending your troops in this type of legions, you're getting all those buffs over your troops. You only support with the troops, but the rally leader is the one which heroes is going to boost the whole rally. That's why from this point, just by thinking over that, you're going to see that your troops is just going to be more stronger till the fights are running. From this to go out with your hero and trying to fight here and there. This don't mean don't go with your heroes or don't do any kind of PvP, but you have to try. You have to try at least to get the best value from your troops at the end of the day. You have to just go there with your troops, and if you can get more buffs, do it. If you can join some rally that is just going to give you more buffs for your troops, just do it. I think this is the smartest approach for, especially for the small accounts, just because they're getting better value from their troops on the battlefield, being led by heroes that are well heroes or Kraken heroes. So you see the difference there and what impact your troops are going to present on the battlefield. I think today's discussion is a good reminder that strategy games are rarely about doing more. They are usually about making better decisions with account that you already have. That's exactly the kind of topics I enjoy testing, and that's the only possible because of everyone supporting the channel through the membership. Thank to you all who make those long-term investigation. Thank you to all of you who make those long-term investigation possible. If you do like to support the channel and help me continue making videos like this, you can check out the membership below the video.